big struggles around learning as against doing by learning is the industry, the corporate world, right? I remember a quote by a very senior leader. He said, I need MBAs to run my business, but I need CAs to tell them what to do. And the CAs have broken out of the education system many years back. CAs don't go and get a degree, but they learn more by doing apprenticeships or, doing projects, right? In that context, we have a very interesting speaker next. He's a serial entrepreneur. He's been disrupting the industry with many startups, and right now he's focusing on the legal tech space. He's doing some cutting-edge work there. He's also part of a venture capital firm. He's also helping others to grow their businesses. Without much delay, let's have Tariq. So Tariq, in your experience, how important is formal education for somebody to run a business or do good work for the industry and be a change maker?
Thank you, Vimal. Obviously, there's some great people around me who've been doing some real work in education, some substantive work. And as an outsider, I get to just opine in terms of how employability is an issue, right? Everybody, at the end of the day, we are looking at putting our children into self-sustainable society that's not necessarily taking care of them, but they're able to take care of themselves, right? So where are the opportunities here outside? So there are two things that I think I want to talk about, or at least mention. The first thing, actually before I do that, I'll preface this with at least my observation. Clearly, and I think we all know this, that the Indian educational system, to put it mildly, has been inadequate in keeping up with India's growing aspirations as well as its population. So, something has to be done, right? So that's clear. The writing's on the wall. The fact is that we have to, roll up our sleeves and make sure that happens. The two things that I wanted to mention was, let me come from the entrepreneurship side. India, has one of the largest young populations in the world, and today holds a fabulous potential and fabulous promise of creating the next level and next generation of companies, both in tech and non-tech. And the world is kind of waiting to see what India produces in the next 2 to 3 decades. Now, having said that, what we really need to think about is, with all due respect to Mr. Ratan Tata, he's a little, I just called him Tata. I mean, Mr. Tata is a little dated, kind of, I think, is in line. But I think where we really have to think about, just like Ramnath said, we live in a finite world. Everything around you is finite, so it is going to run out. And today we're talking about sustainability, not as a special interest subject, as really the way industries really have to be built and based on. So having said that, what are we doing to really create the next generation of entrepreneurs? How are we influencing their thought in making sure that is development happening just for the sake of development? Are we all focused on making 5 rupees, 10 rupees, and that's the game? To what end? What are your goals of your business? What are you going to change? How is it going to change the world around you for the better? Because we being, clearly the most intelligent species on the planet, have a responsibility and a duty to make sure that we do that, right? So there is the next generation of entrepreneurs that really need to be honed, and I think that level of entrepreneurship is not being taught. We're looking at the West, we're seeing what they're doing, we're trying to see if there's money to be made. And to some extent, we're starting to do it a little effectively right now. So India's got the largest billion-dollar companies that it's ever had in its history. And some of them are less than 10 years old, right? Right from Zoho to Oyo, who's been in a little bit of trouble, but India's got its rising crop of billion-dollar companies at a global level. That means Indian companies are starting to influence the way the world is starting to operate and how industries are being formed. So with all of this happening, what are we doing really to hone the next generation of entrepreneurs is something that we have to think about. And I think for us to really focus on interest-based and passion-based learning is going to create a product that is not just aping the West or doing something what the West has already done a little better, but is going to be disruptive and creating new solutions for the world. Okay? That thinking is critical. if we really want to tap into that potential, we need to be filling gaps or creating industries that don't exist. Okay, rather than just making money in industries that already exist. So there is an entrepreneurship section that I think we actively need to think about. The second area that I want to touch on is employability. We recruit people because we have to. They're not really employable. And what I mean by that is India is spewing out engineers at this rapid rate, and they all show up at interviews with absolutely really nothing to offer. Right? So what are companies looking at the end of the day? I mean, and it's not rocket science. We're looking at, yes, discipline for sure, because without structure, without frameworks, things don't really operate and you can't really scale. But we're also looking at things like creative thinking, right? We're thinking about hiring people who can be multi-skilled, cross-functional, and we move them across departments, because even industries are evolving, even companies, the way organizations are being, the foundations of organizations are starting to change. We'll be starting to think how organizations need to run. So we're really looking at those kind of skills. And those skills are absolutely absent, right? People today the recruitment is really focused on people who are really good interview takers. And once they get in, you're scratching your head in terms of how do you reskill the very people that you've actually hired. And this is what Cognizant's press release was last week. Our recruitment strategy is to hire young and reskill. This is from the CEO, right? What does this mean? This means that the people who are coming out of our colleges are not employable, right? And this is a real issue. And I think we really have to focus on why are they not employable. Because are we just too focused on tests, on examinations, on just getting through? Or are we focused truly just on the cream, right? And not the bottom half? And what is that going to be doing to the small and the mid-sized businesses? They're not going to be able to afford to hire the cream of the crop. They will need to hire the rest. So what are we doing for that, right? So these are the important questions that I think we really need to think about, ponder, introspect, and truly look at what are going to be the real, truly influential changes that we really need to make within our educational system. And I think that's what the premise of Beyond is, right? So, thank you.